Hey, what's up, everybody? How you guys doing? Y'all, listen, hold on, let me make sure I got my camera set up. Welcome to the live. Let's put on the speaker. There we go. Y'all, what's going on? How y'all doing? I hope y'all feeling like Cassie. I'm walking on sunshine. Ooh, you know her and her husband Alex are doing the generational wealth shuffle. Y'all, listen. If you guys don't know, Puffy has a new agenda after he paid Cassie because he still got some worries. We're gonna talk about that. But before we even start this live, right? I want to say thank you to Mark, to Valerie, to Sherry, Renee, to Cassie for doing the good. I want to say Cynthia, Patrice, Valerie, Sherry, Mark, Aubrey. What's up, you guys? Thank you for always keeping me in the loop. Divinity 77. If I forgot anyone, I'll try to remember them later. But honestly, let me get into this because the Parade of Dusties has come around. Puffy is finally opening his mouth to say something. I know the Parade of Dusties being like, how can we believe her? Cassie must have liked it. She did this, she did that, which really exposes a lot of stuff. And I actually want to talk about that before I get into it. One, the whole thing of how do we know she's telling the truth? Sir or ma'am, I'm sorry, Dusty and Desmisha. How do we know she's right? I think Puffy thinks she's right. Puffy, the person that she was suing, rolled over in under 24 hours and gave a huge chunk of his network. I have a theory on why that is, right? Made a few videos about it. Y'all know you're going to be getting a lot of videos this whole time, right? Puffy literally is the one that said Cassie's claim had proof. Puffy, with the settling, agreed that something had happened. So I'm confused about all the Dusties in my comments. What you mean we don't know what happened? Why don't you go action King Puffy? He seems to know what happened. And he seems to have, 100 million reasons. I do want to point out that when I was the first person to say that it was around 100 million, some people were telling me to shut up. I don't know what I'm talking about. I need to go to school, blah, 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 blah. And yet now everybody on YouTube is saying it's 100 million. Funny how those things work out. But anyway, listen, second of all, right? What is wrong with people? There is like a sickness in culture. Even if you paid them $1 million, let you A-Town stomp them in their face and crack open their head. The way there are so many people being like, she wanted that fancy lifestyle. But what about the person that was A-Town stomping on the head? Is there when you talk about personal accountability, y'all can talk, not y'all, but the people in the back can talk about like Cassie needs to take responsibility. She traded her soul for money. Can we address the person that wants to pay someone all this lavish lifestyle to A-Town stomp and crack somebody's head open? At what point are we going to say perhaps people that enjoy A-Town stomping on people's heads and cracking them open, perhaps they shouldn't be part of society? At what point are we going to address the actual monsters? Because even though everyone wants to judge Cassie for she was fine getting the money, but what about the person that actually wants to sleep with somebody and then A-Town stomp their head into the ground? Does that not strike you as a monster? Does that not strike you as like, Does that not strike you as soon as you run out of people that want to be A-Town stomped and will raise their hands and do it for a couple of dollars, you'll start making people get A-Town stomped whether you want it or not? Like, where are people going? Now, we saw the Dusty Brigade. We saw Rich Dollars being like, no, but Cassie should have said something sooner. If you guys don't know who he is like a reality TV star, but his whole storyline is he is an all-around trash bag. And he literally uses his industry connections and being a producer to lord over the women of love and hip hop. And I'm sure a lot of young aspiring singers in New York City. We saw the mess he took Erica Mena through. Yes, Erica Mena, the person that likes to call people blue animals, right? So he's out there defending. And I'm like, why would you be defending this unless you know that you was out there making people do something strange for some change or some tracks and you don't want to be held accountable? Then Peter Guns, a man whose whole storyline is psychologically abusing, right? And manipulating two or more women, handing out rings, having them fighting in the street like animals, literally mentally abusing him. I mean, the people he's dating, He's saying, well, it's like, she either want justice or she want money. Excuse me, sir. I live in the U.S. or A. What you mean I either want justice or money? Baby, in the United States of America, money is justice. But we ain't going for no moral victories in 2023. Get the hell out of here. Because if morals meant something to these people, Puffy wouldn't have been making his white fingernail brigade. If y'all know, that's a nickname for any woman, white fingernail crew. I know nobody and the mama better show up with some white fingernails standing within 10-mile radius of Puffy. Because we're going to be like, right? We going to be like, y'all better put some Lee press-on nails or something when you come out in public and kick them off in the back. But honestly, the fact that now the worst of the worst men are talking about you, let me just say this, right? Cassie suffered the abuse, right? Well, maybe she's alleged. Do we still say allegedly, even though he settled? Puffy says he's not guilty, but he settled for like hundreds and hundreds of millions of dollars. But he says he's not. It's not an admission of guilt. But honestly, what is this Dusty Brigade in my, we're about to get into the new info, but what is this Dusty Brigade that's been in my comment section and all over the internet and trying to defend as if the fact that because somebody got money out of something, that's it. This is literally Dusty, Kevin Samuels mind games mess to me on a new level. Let me get this straight. You spent all this time trafficking me, and in order for me to get my victory, right? Let's just get this straight. You spent all this time using my body and violating the most precious thing that I have. It is my most valued possession, myself. You spent all this time violating me, and you're now telling me, of course, these are the Dusty Peter Guns, mentally abusive. You're telling me that the only way I can actually get justice for you using me is by not touching your pockets at all. Not besmirching your reputation at all. The way I get revenge is what? To be quiet and go pray on it? Who's falling for this mess in 2023? Baby, no. We ain't, I don't want a moral victory. I don't want a moral victory because you don't care about morals. Puffy don't care about morals. He don't even care about what people think. Peter Guns don't care about morals. He don't care about anything. But what he does care about, paying child support, paying money. How is this? She either wanted victory or she wanted money. So you're telling me that anybody that is a victim of abuse cannot go into civil court because civil court is all about money. These same Dusties, if you hit their car, if you steal out of it, if you snatch their chain, they will take you to court quick. They will take you to court. If you literally use some of Peter Guns' music without copyright, you use some of it, they will sue you quick. They will want your, but yet when it comes down to my body, Cassie's body, the most precious thing you have, your temple, and somebody defiles it, you're not supposed to go for money? Y'all, I can't. I'm sick of the male. I'm sick of the, like, I'm just sick of it. Anyway, let's catch up to what's going on. Good for Cassie to go after money. Don't ever tell you that if you're being misused, you can't get money. Go after that money. Get that money. Enjoy that money. But let's talk about the real. Puffy's emerged. Puffy has emerged, and he is literally doing photo shoots now, trying to play the victim. Literally, TMZ has a photo shoot of Puffy sitting there along. Let me see if I can. Where's these pictures? Puffy sitting, holding his stomach. Look at this, feeling sick, feeling like he don't know what to do, holding his stomach. He's in his feelings right now. And to which I say, you know what? God is great. God is great. He didn't count on all this. Now, just to bring you guys up a little bit to speed on what's going on, there are people that legal analysis that are saying that the reason he settled within 24 hours is because Cassie and all that stuff she put in the complaint, that was the tip of the iceberg. Cassie's been with that man for 10 years, and she knows where literally all the bodies are buried. There have been rumors for a while that Puffy is involved in illicit stuff. Now, I don't know if they're true, but I do know that when somebody is powerful, they have the upper hand in any SA case, any grape case. In America, it is incredibly hard if you have been in a long-term relationship with someone to prove SA and grape if you did not leave. We, again, domestic violence the laws have evolved very, very quickly. But if you go back and you stay, it is very, very hard to prove, especially for things that came years back. They're saying that Puffy was ready to fight. He was prepared to fight. That's why Cassie released that information. However, he wasn't prepared for the things that Cassie. Hey, B, thank you so much for the super chat. However, he was not prepared at all for the things criminally that Cassie knew about or witnessed to come out. He did not want discovery to come out. I found it interesting in the complaint that there was something about her and Diddy were at home. They were inebriated, doing their best Bobby and Whitney impersonation. He got a call about Suge Knight being somewhere. He grabbed the gat and ran out the house. He grabbed the gat and ran out the house. Hey, Dr. J, 91913, how you doing? Member for 25 months. Wow, I've been in this YouTube game for 25 months. Shout out to Dr. J 1913, the illest and the realest. Thank you so much for being a part of my journey. But he grabbed the house. I do believe that smidget was put in there to alert him of what was going down. And when that TMZ article dropped, it went down even worse. But let me just give you a little sense into what he was actually trying to avoid, because this lawyer had a really, really good legal breakdown, and I want to read it to y'all. And if you guys want, we might even drop the call-in link if you guys want to really, really talk about it. Let's see. Okay, so let's start with Diddy's lawyer. Diddy's lawyer said, just so we're clear, a decision to settle a lawsuit, especially in 2023, is in no way an admission of wrongdoing. Beg to differ. I beg to differ. From what I know about law, I beg to differ. Another person said, Mr. Combs' decision to settle the lawsuit does not in any way undermine his flat out denial of the claims. He is happy they got to a mutual settlement and wishes Mrs. Ventura the best. Y'all buying that? Now, there are some dummies in the comment section being like, y'all don't know the way settlements work, okay? When you get a settlement, you get way less. You do this and do that. No, that's not the way settlements work. Thank you, Sindhu, so much. Sindhu Pocheski, thank you so much for the super chat. That's not the way settlements work. Here's the way settlements work. You come and your lawyer asks for everything. First of all, Puffy's the one that said that Cassie tried to blackmail him, right? Not settle, but blackmail him. Okay. The fact that you settled with someone that you said blackmailed you, this is the clearest indication that something is up. And I really need to read it to y'all because it really stayed in my mind. Let me find it really quick. Where is it at? Because when they say, oh, that's just what people do, why would Puffy settle with Cassie? After you said this woman tried to blackmail you, after you have the upper hand, because this is the thing, usually in sexual harassment cases and all this other stuff, especially when you're going against somebody rich and powerful, you usually stop. Hey, Sindhu, thank you so much for the super chat. Woo, we have the super chat at. You usually fight it. Why do you fight it? Because you don't want blood in the water. You don't want what's happening, which is everybody circling around Diddy, getting their knives out, about to carve him up and go into his fortune. On top of that, you can usually run out the person who doesn't have money if the case drags on for even a year. That can bankrupt most people. Puffy was in the position of power. Puffy had all the power. Okay? So why would he settle? Again, nobody offers that kind of money to settle who is innocent. He didn't offer 500,000 or even $1 million, especially not when you have the means to drag her through court. Those execs, like they said, did not want their names and actions exposed and or to be dragged into any criminal charges. So the phones were ringing and, of course, the cash was moving. The cash was moving. But let me get to this. 1 second. There was, what happened? Anyway, I'm looking for this, but why I did, let me just fill this in with some dead air. A lot of people are actually saying that the one way that you can tell that this was not good for Puffy and Cassie had all the power was basically at the fact that he didn't countersue. He did not countersue. They said at this point, you can literally tell if if she was lying in any way. Puffy had the means and money to countersue her for defamation, countersue for ruining his reputation, countersuing him for every YouTuber. Hi, that's me. And blogger dragging him. He is all over the blogs and he is not going anywhere. At what point are we really just going to accept that Diddy messed up? Like Person 5 Royal Stan Club said, I don't think the dumb folks on this app, she was talking about Twitter, not YouTube, because we stay, right? I don't think the dumb folks on this app understand that if Cassie was actually lying, that Diddy could countersue for defamation, other defenses, and drag this out in court, exhausting all her funds because he has the upper hand financially. He settled for in less than 24 hours. So what's Puffy's plan moving forward? Why did he settle with Cassie? And now the blood's in the water. What is his plan moving forward? A lot of industry people are saying that his plan moving forward is a three-part plan. One, to play victim. To play victim. That's what he does. That's what he did with Kim Porter. The fact that he brainwashed America into thinking that he wasn't the reason, right? Keisha said, hold on, let me start reading these comments. Keisha said, not necessarily Tisa. Maybe he had something on Cassie, but she agreed to settle. Keisha, no. I mean, I get your point, but you're forgetting some key things. If Diddy had something on Cassie and she agreed to settle, do you know what settlements look like? The settlement would look like Cassie withdrawing the case. So let me just break this down because it's so much to say. When you settle, the person that is in the right for settling, so say I sue Puffy, right? I sue you. No. Let's just say I sue you, Keisha. And I'm like, yo, Keisha's been defaming my channel, blah, 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 blah. I go, and you got something on me. So I'm just like, right? Let me just shut up. How does that look like? And how can lawyers tell that a settlement actually took place where you had something on them and you had some leverage? I would quietly withdraw my case. There would be a settlement, but in most settlements, you can't even tell people there was a settlement. That's part of the terms of settlement. You can't talk about the settlement. You can't talk about how much. The fact that he settled less than 24 hours later, the fact that Cassie did not withdraw, she didn't quietly withdraw. The fact that there was no apology on her end, the fact that there was no conciliatory language toward Diddy. I'm telling you, if there's any lawyers in the feed, please speak up. There are certain indicators that let you know that he didn't have nothing on Cassie. Cassie dog walked him. Mo Beautiful, member for 20 months, said, oh shoot, time flies. Hey, what's up, Mo Beautiful? Thank you for the super chat. Also, Azor TV said the 90s was infested with predatory producers, music executives, and managers, from R. Kelly to Diddy to Lou Pearlman. The common denominator is sexual and financial exploitation, 100%. But I don't understand why people just don't want to believe. Diddy is being dog walking every blog. If Diddy had something on Cassie, he would have made her walk out there and give an apology, or he would have countersued her for defamation, for lies. Why, if Diddy had all the money, would he lay down? The damage has been done. Why? It makes no sense. It makes no sense to me. And I would love Diddy's lawyer to actually explain this, because if you go into the legal circles, they're laughing at Diddy. When you go into people that know anything about law, they're laughing at Diddy. Cassie and her lawyer dog walked him. You do not settle in 24 hours. Because also, I mentioned this in an old video, but let me just say this. Diddy has a lot of power. We saw what happened with Amber Heard and Johnny Depp. Forget about whether you agree whether she was guilty or not. That's not my point. My point of the matter is, when that happens, there are bot farms, there are troll farms. You start paying for ads, write-ups, blogs. Your PR people, go to In Touch. You hire private investigators to dig through their garbage. You do everything you can to throw dirt on their name. Like I said in one of my old videos, go watch the playlist. It's actually pretty lit. Diddy has so much money, by the end of the trial, they probably would have painted him. I don't even like white nail polish. Cassie made me. I told her no, but she said, no, you're going to watch. They would have painted Cassie as the aggressor. They do that in plenty of DV and great things. Shannon said, I bet he had the last baby to spite Gina. He wanted her to believe she wasn't special. I can have an Asian baby anytime I want. I agree with that because I find it odd that he dogged out Gina. She was begging for a baby. And then another woman popped up with a baby who looked just like Gina and was Asian. But anyway, let me get back to this bag, right? Listen, Michael Jackson, thank you, Azor TV, settled after almost 2 years of negotiations. It is unheard of once things go public for a 24-hour settlement, especially with these charges. Do you guys not realize that it would look bad for him to settle with Cassie right now? He is not just like out in the woods. He has a lawyer. Again, no one knows what actually really happened. This is just what I surmise by just knowing a little bit about the legal system, and also really just go ask a lawyer friend if you don't believe me. And again, you can look at history, you can look at case law, you can look at precedents, you can look at all that mess. You can just go look. Also, another lawyer made a really great point. I'm going to read you the thread, okay? Let me just pull that up. Yeah, somebody said she may have gotten a 9-figure settlement, Anyway, let's get into this, right? Somebody said it's literally the difference between Tiger Woods' ex withdrawing her lawsuit and Puffy settling with Cassie. He had nothing on Cassie. On top of that, the language of the settlement, when Cassie is like, I did this to maintain control of my life. And the fact that he said, I wish Cassie and her family the best, baby, she dog walked Puffy. It's my opinion. My opinion. Now, let's get into a few other things because Rem, thank you so much for the super chat. Let me get into a few other things because it's actually really important. And I just want to touch on them before we get into what Puffy's the 3-part strategy. Quiana, where are you at, babes? There you are. Kiana Brown said, did Cassie file the lawsuit on Kim Porter's birthday? Yes. Cassie dropped the lawsuit on Kim Porter's birthday. Tell me they weren't sending a message. Tell me that she didn't have something that criminally would have looked bad for Puffy. Because here's the gag, right? Someone cannot, okay, how do I explain this? You realize in America, I can see the biggest crime go down. And if I do not participate, I have no legal obligation to stop. I can see you push a car full of babies off a cliff. If I did not participate at all, no conspiracy, whatever, legally, as messed up it is, I do not have any obligation to do anything to stop you. I don't even have the obligation to report it. Likewise, if something happens to me, I don't have the obligation to report it. Okay. Now, the thing is that was so odd with Cassie. Okay. When it comes to the line between blackmail and paying somebody to be quiet is a very, very thin line. Very, very thin. If I know that you have done something that you would not want other people to know about, whether it was criminal or not, whether you pushed babies off a cliff or whether you ate all the cookies, right? You can technically offer to pay me for my silence. You're not paying me to not cooperate with the police because you can't. You're not paying me to do, you're just paying me to do nothing. That is 100% legal. If, hypothetically speaking, Cassie had information that if the authorities knew about it, Puffy wouldn't want them to know about. And if she let them know, yo, I know what you did last summer. No, I really do know what you did last summer, right? And that's balled up. Puffy can pay her to do nothing, which is to be quiet. Now, here's why Puffy's stressing out, I think. because now he thought he put a cap on that. Whatever she threw out there rattled him so much, he lost his MF in mind. Again, it was dropped on Kim's birthday, so take that as you will. Nay said Diddy was always the devil. Happy for Cassie. F that. Pay me for my pain. Good job, T. So, oh, thank you. All the coverage you're doing on these Dusty Ninjas. Love you. Thank you so much, Nay. But do you see what I'm saying? Again, it's a very, very fine line. But at the end of the day, as long as she's not interfering with investigation, here's the problem with that. It literally is like, I know what you did last summer. If the news got out, even though he paid Cassie however much, whether it's $1 or 100 million, even if he paid Cassie the money to be quiet, if the police find out about it and they go to her and they're like, yo, what did he do last summer? Cassie, no matter what the settlement is, must cooperate with authorities. So you're paying Cassie for her silence. The problem is, and this is what Diddy's facing, he's basically been, I don't want to say shaken down, but he's opened himself up for other people to come at him for his money. Because now they know that the pot's sweet. Now they know that he'll settle quickly. Now he knows. That's another reason, Kaya, when I was just like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense, that you would let everybody know that it's just sweet, and you would let everybody know that they could take advantage of you. It just doesn't work. It just doesn't work. This is only the beginning. But the thing that we need to figure out, that I'm investigating, is what is Diddy exactly trying to hide? Some people say it's the Kim Porter mess. Again, Kim Porter, I know y'all saw the psychic that literally was like Kim Porter was sitting in the room, right? I know y'all saw that psychic. Kim Porter, her death was mysterious. Her best friend, Kimora Lee Simmons, thought that somebody had done something to her. She never said Puffy's name, but she thought somebody had done something to her, and she wanted an investigation opened. She wanted her case reopened. Kim died of pneumonia. However, did she ever have an autopsy run? Was there ever any proof? And again, I don't want to start like theories, but that's always been. It was also weird the way once she passed away, he literally created this fictitious narrative of how Kim was the love of his life. She was this, she was that. When everybody that was paying attention at that time, as far as I wasn't paying attention, but you know me, I did my research. Everybody that was paying attention at that time said he treated Kim horribly. Horribly. He would never bring her out. He claimed Cassie, came J-Lo, but he treated Kim horribly. And all of a sudden, when that happens, you're talking about, oh my God, I miss the person that I love more in life. Let's also not forget that after Kim died, he was on the Breakfast Club. Stacey Evans, thank you so much for the super chat. Appreciate you, mama. Thank you so much. Let's also not forget that while he was on the Breakfast Club, he was making jokes about how you have to mentally abuse women and keep them in their place and laughing about it. This is after Kim died, why his son, Christian, was sitting right next to him, and he was making jokes about like basically playing mind games on Christian's mother. You know, let's not forget that Puffy's nanny to the twins used to be the nanny, who's also very good friends with Kimora Lee, very good friends with Kim before she passed away. And I believe she was Kim's cousin. I don't know if it was by blood, but they were definitely close. Let's also not forget that woman, okay, she's suing Puffy and saying that Kim was writing a tell-all book and there's all this nefarious stuff. But let's get back to the way that he actually because this is the part that I find weird. Let's get back to the way that he actually used Kim's death to relaunch his career. He used Kim's death to relaunch his career. That's my opinion. That's what I saw. Just like, even though now, 3 days ago, I don't think he thought that Cassie was going to launch the lawsuit, right? So he didn't know. He knew because there was negotiations, but he didn't know the lawsuit was going. He literally showed a video of him in the studio with Babyface, listening to music, talking about, this album's for you, Kim. It's my love album. He was using Kim again to promote an album, right? But remember when Biggie passed away? Remember when he had that thing that was like, every step you take, right? With Faith, right? Right? Remember that? Remember how that's what launched him into mainstream America? And he spent the next 3 years doing duets with Sting at the Grammys and doing all these things like praising to the most highest for Biggie. It's funny how every single time people close to Puff passed away, right? Everything close to Puff passes away. It's funny how, hey, Alejandra Aranda people, thank you so much for the super chat. Yolanda C said, Tisa, did you see the new pics of Diddy on TMZ? Yes, we are about to talk about that. And also, Nicole Nikki said, I'm waiting for Surviving Diddy like R. Kelly. I'm going to drop a few Surviving Diddies. They're going to be just like that. Thank you so much for the super chat, you guys. I really appreciate it. Okay, but he used Biggie. So it's almost like, I don't want to say he is, but you know, you watch horror films. And every time a sociopath like does something and somebody comes, like the Lifetime movies, and they're just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry for the loss of your wife. And they're just like, it's okay, she'll be loved. And then he moves to a new town. And it's just like, oh my God, I'm so sorry for the loss of your life. And he's wife, and he's crying again. And then somebody that knows him from all three towns is like, oh my God, he is like a stone cold. Again, I'm not implying for liability purposes that Puffy is like Silence of the Lambs, but I find it hard to believe that the angel of death is so close to him. Let's talk about what's going on with TMZ, because that's the important thing. Let's talk about what's going on. Puffy had some pictures resurface. Rem, thank you so much for the super sticker. And also Denisha S. Oh, thank you. She says, love your news. Appreciate your hard work. Thank you. Y'all know I love this though, because you gotta watch. Like, I remember watching, what was it? A soap opera. Do they still make soap operas anymore? But my mom would have them on. And yeah, so I'm just like, oh my God, right? Even though this isn't funny, but it's very interesting. So let's get back to the point, right? He just strikes me as like that person that's like, whatever. So now Puffy, pictures surfaced of Puffy on TMZ. Let me show you some of these pics, right? Look at the screen if you're watching on playback, because I don't want to get trademarked, whatever, with TMZ. Okay, look. Here's Puffy. Let me turn my phone on, wipe my rosemary oil off my phone. Okay, hold on. Look. So TMZ are posting these pictures. Here's one. Here's Puffy and his longtime assistant. They're looking at the phone. Puffy looks nervous as a mug. Look at this one. He got hands on your knees. Hands on your knees. Look at him praying, talking about, oh my God, why is this happening to me? Because you are the devil, sir. Look at this. He's trying to plead his case. And you know, the funny thing is, you know me, I zoomed in really quick just to see. Does it look like this girl's wearing white nail polish? Does it look like she's wearing white nail polish? Does that look like white nail polish? I couldn't tell if it was white or ballerina pink. Is that ballerina pink? It better not be white. But anyway, right? So Puffy was doing like all this stuff. He's literally freaking out. He doesn't know what is going on. This is what, again, Kia, how you know that he ain't had nothing on Cassie, because his life is falling apart. Do you know that Naomi Campbell, somebody that has known Puffy for over 20 years, someone that was cool with him in part, someone that she goes to all his birthday parties, that is her brother, she loves him, all this stuff. This is how deep people actually believe, and how the people that are closest to him actually believe what's going on with Cassie. And they actually got confirmation. At least that's what I think. Because if your brother that you've known for 20 something years, that you hung out with, if he's sitting there going all this, the girl's lying, are you going to abandon him? No. Janet Jackson and Naomi Campbell removed Puffy's photos after he settled with Cassie. They said, they partied with Diddy at Lavo in London last week to celebrate Diddy's 54th birthday party and release of his new album. They both documented their good time by posting photos, okay? Posting photos of the bash on Instagram. However, both Janet Jackson and Naomi have removed their post. This is the post that they had up. Look at this. This is the post that they had up. They have known him forever. Y'all are sitting here being like, oh, we don't know what happened. Diddy knows, Naomi knows, Janet Jackson. Everybody's been silent. I didn't expect anybody to really support Cassie. right? But apparently there's so many things on Diddy, but all of his friends have been quiet. The only people that have come forth to speak are Dusties. Speaking of the biggest Dusty, did y'all hear Slim Thug was saying he thinks that there should be a statute of limitations for people to say that they were abused? And I was just looking at him. But then I did a little research, and apparently he went and dated, he cheated on LaToya Luckett with his cousin and got his cousin pregnant on purpose, and then tweeted that he wished he had gotten to Beyonce first so he could have put a baby in her. I'm just saying, right? I'm just saying, right? Listen, we're not bringing Janet Jackson into this mess. Janet Jackson is on the right side of history. Listen, I'll Be Sure was always saying that when it came to Kim Porter, he thought something was up, you know? He always said that. Also, let's also not forget, there's a Fox Soul clip about Cassie and Diddy, and she mentions that Puffy told her he would make her disappear some time ago. Claudia Jordan said that about Puffy. Y'all, when are y'all gonna believe that the person sitting in front of you is exactly who he showed himself to be? But anyway, let's get back to what is going on. His famous friends are abandoning him. He is now hot potato. Everybody expects more and more allegations. To put this in context, Naomi Campbell has interviews on her YouTube channel. Naomi Campbell has interviewed Vladimir Putin. She's proud of that. Naomi Campbell has partied with Epstein. Naomi Campbell has seen some things, and you're distancing yourself from Puffy. What do you think is coming out? Y'all, hold on. Let me get to these comments and see what y'all can say. All those Hollywood elites said, man, you better pay her. I don't want my name brought up in this ish. Let me just say this, okay? This is just a little thing, okay? You know, my mind was connecting dots. When I read that 35-page thing, I did it on the live. Go watch it. Read it yourself, but if you don't want to read, you can listen to me do audiobook, right? Read you a bedtime story. I found something interesting. In all Cassie's stuff, she kept saying how Kanye, that Diddy would tape her while she was having trains run on her while she was wearing the white fingernail polish. And he would tape her because he enjoyed the voyeurism. But the thing is, when she describes the way the taping was, right? And this is the weird part. And I don't want to be like getting into like Illuminati, but just hear me out. Hear me out, because I don't subscribe to the Illuminati. I just think it's a bunch of people drunk with power. But just hear me out. Because when you get to that, should I find the exact part? Let me see if I can find the exact part. She tells the this thing about that one time he liked the white nail polish around, and he would get her illicit substances and alcohol. She'd be like, ooh, where am I? Right? Dancing with SpongeBob and Squidward and all the stuff. But she would get anxiety so bad that she would start throwing up. And on one particular occasion, he was like, what are you doing? We're supposed to have a freak off. And she was so like throwing up so bad in the toilet. And he was demanding the freak off that she somehow pulled herself together and went, and like the train got ran. Choo choo, right? But she said something really interesting that still sticks in my head. She said that there were she had to pick the men out from the catalog, and there were men, and he would set up video recording, a laptop, a camera, and a phone. But the way it was written, just legally speaking, it was like, oh, he used a laptop, a camera, or a phone. No, he would tape her with a laptop, a camera, and a phone. Okay, so that's one. So when I heard like you're doing a 3-part setup, I'm just thinking, bum chicka bum mom, right? I'm like, Cassie, you might not have thought it, but he was showing these videos to other people. I would think that he was bartering in this, because if you look at people that trade in illicit content, they don't buy it because buying it is illegal, right? They trade it. Hey, I got one film of somebody doing this. You want to trade? That's the way they barter information and favors. Hey, I'll show you that. But one, I was like, but he's showing this, right? I'm not saying he's putting it up on like OnlyFans, but there are people more wealthy, more powerful, or maybe people he needs favors from that I would bet that he is showing it to. But here's where things get really, really dark. So we're in the room. She's surrounded by a bunch of men. He likes them big. He likes them dark skin. He likes them strong like bull, right? He's setting up the shots. And while she's getting a train run on him, she's remembering, seeing, fading in and out of fuzziness that like he was running around fixing all the cameras and all the angles. But here's the part that I was just like, yo, don't tell me that y'all might be right about this Illuminati stuff. Hey, T. Ronnie said, when I learned Cassie's lawyer is the same lawyer that bought down Harvey Weinstein, I knew he was done. Yes, indeed. Okay, so let's get. Thank you so much, T. Ronnie, for the super chat. So here's the part where it gets really interesting. She mentioned that while he was fussing with the cameras, he was also running around trying to adjust all the candles that he had placed around them. So that's when my mind said, wait a second. The visual. You got 3 cameras set up. You're surrounded by men. All aboard. The train's going. Come on, choo choo, right? Okay, fine. I'll be serious, right? But this is what was going on in my head. I'm telling y'all, literally, this started popping. I was like, focus. 3 cameras set up, surrounded by men. There are blankety blank. You're wearing mask. That was another thing. You're wearing mask. So it's like eyes wide shut. You're wearing mask. You're being taped from 3 angles. And there's candles surrounding you. Does that not sound like a ritual to you? I mean, granted, to be fair, I've never been involved in any type of ritual. But from what I saw at The Craft and what I saw on like Sci-Fi Network, it sounds like a ritual to me. Does it not? Does it not sound like a ritual to you guys? And I'm not even being funny. It sounded like a ritual. So that's when I got to thinking, right? That's where I got to thinking. When you reread that, because that's the thing, whenever you're taking in any type of legal text, it's really important that you read it once. You got to walk away from it. Maybe the next day, come back to it. Pick it up when you're bored. Because when people are actually giving information, there's so much in there and reading in between the lines. Everybody just focused on the grape and the sexual assault, right? Because of course, that's the most shocking stuff. But the things she let out, it seemed like there was some type of intimate ritual going on with candles encircling you and Puffy running around. Now, she said he likes voyeurism, but he was running around adjusting like the laptop, the camera, the phone. You're running around and you're adjusting stuff. Who are you taping this for? What is going on? Why does it always have to be the mask? Why does it always have to be men that look a certain way? Why do you need the white fingernails? Yeah, you could say it's a kink, maybe, but with the candles, I'm just saying that sounds like an R-rated version of The Craft. Do y'all remember The Craft? That is the movie. It's like this old school movie from the 80s or 90s. It is the movie. Light as a feather. What is it? Light as a feather. No, heavy as a rock. Light as a what's The Craft? Light as a feather, soft as a wind. I don't know, but it literally, you will get your life if you watch The Craft, especially at the end when the girl goes crazy and then like it's crazy, right? But right? Okay, thank you. Masonic rituals, thank you. Or a ritual. Again, I'm not into this stuff, but when I read it, I was like, oh, don't tell me y'all was right. Because y'all know I'd be in the comments being like, you guys, grow up. There's no such thing as the Illuminati. There's no ritual going on. Stop it. Now, mind you, remember I said that Lipstick Alley kind of exposed Puffy? There are threads. Again, this is all allegations. Nothing's been proven. It could just be random gossip where in that same thread, they are, and thank you so much, Lonnie, for sending me that thread. Thank you so much, right? There are lots in that same thread that Puffy's into voodoo. He's in the Santeria. And again, I usually look at that type of stuff as outlandish, but Puffy's into such dark stuff and dark energy. Just because you might not believe voodoo or Santeria or any of that stuff works, doesn't mean somebody literally high off their own supply and drunk with power wouldn't do it just to see if it worked. Do you get what I'm saying? It's like with voodoo. I don't believe it works, but that doesn't stop somebody that hates me getting like putting a sock puppet and drawing like some eyes on it and like taking like some hay and like to color it and be like, look, this is Tisa. Do you know what I'm saying? Looking like a wobble wobble. That wouldn't stop anybody from trying it. Again, she said that there was one night, and the fact that they dropped Suge Knight's name into it, and the fact that what's his name, Keith D is now under he's been arrested, but there's all these rumors that Puffy somehow connected. I just find it odd. Why you mention Suge Knight? I bet you that there are plenty of times, because you had to hold his hammer. There are plenty of times that Puffy had a hammer on him. There's plenty of times I've even I haven't heard, but I read that he was like, take that, like pistol looking people, right? Take that, right? So I'm like, why is this the only thing that you put in? Why is it so important for Puffy to know that, yeah, remember that night somebody told you and Suge was about like around the way in Dairy Queen? I don't know if it's Dairy Queen, but he was somewhere. And we was in the middle of stuff and you literally got up and ran out and I cried all night. And I remember thinking, what happened when he got home? What did he say? What did he look like? Did he have anything that looked like ketchup on his clothes? I found it odd that as well written as Cassie's complaint was, she started a lot of stories that made me be like, what? Wait, what? And then just that quick, she would flip on another story. It was almost like to be continued. But I'm like, why are you putting this in? Because the information was for public consumption. Because of course she wanted to hurt that mofo. She wanted to destroy him. She wanted to publicly humiliate him. But there was more in that 35-page document. There were warnings. It literally reminded me of, I know what you did last summer. And the fact that everybody kind of skipped over that, it just made me be like, things that make you go home. And you know, and then I started thinking about it. And about I started looking into why people do this, why people do that. But again, taking it back to that voodoo, Santeria, and all this other stuff, people believe, I'll be real with y'all. People believe crazy, crazy mess. They just do. It's the nature of people. I'm sure if y'all know, no, I don't think I believe anything crazy, but who knows, right? I believe that people have a right to a fair wage and to be able to have a livable life and a livable income. People might think that that's crazy. Okay. So it's kind of like, I believe in fair wages. I believe in this. So y'all might think that's crazy. But the same way that somebody that works like that, the lady downstairs that always got chicken in her yards is doing Santeria in her thing. Why do people not believe that even if it doesn't work, there are people with money, power, and influence that are desperate to hold on to money, power, and influence? And why wouldn't they sacrifice a chicken, drink a cup of virgin blood mixed with 151, one sip of make a woo flip, right? Not writing names on my holotape. Bah, 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 bah. Okay, anyway, right? All I need is one mic. Hey, thank you so much, Kay, for sending support. I appreciate that. But in any case, right, I do want to say that I think Cassie was on the verge of all of Diddy's business associates are quickly distancing themselves from him. Why is that? What's Diddy's next plan? One, he's going to play victim, right? Two, he is going to try to launch a PR campaign, but it's going to be tricky because I'm sure one of the terms of the negotiations is he can't badmouth Cassie. He's going to write a coordinated PR effort that goes after Cassie. Three, what's he going to do? He's going to try to rebuild his image. He has a new album coming out and he's going to try to play victim. Again, if Cassie did settle, I'm sure in the settlement, as long as he does not talk about her, they're fine, right? So what's the odds Diddy's going to try to go to Africa, build a village, What? Mary Young Miami. Like, I'm sure it is coming. People are saying that this is this 1, 2, 3 play. Right now, they're waiting for the blogs to get tired of this. But if I was Diddy, I'd be really worried because when you drop stuff on Friday, it usually disappears for the weekend. And by the time Wednesday comes, people are over it. The fact that this went crazy over the weekend, I forgot about Kanye, forgot about Kim, forgot about Kiki, forgot about Tamar. There's been so much foolery going on, but what do you care? Because at the end of the day, you have a monster really moving out. Listen, let me get into these comments real quick, right? Somebody said his album is out. Okay, exactly. His album's out. He can forget about that. That's a flat. Oh, somebody said Mace was right about Diddy. Mace was right about Diddy. You know who I want to speak to? Do you know who I want to find out? Do you know who really needs to ask some questions? Where's Farnsworth? Where's Mr. Bentley? I heard he's living in Atlanta with his wife and kids. He has wife and kids, so I don't want to repeat anything that I've read about him because who knows? But he was Diddy's number one. He never left Diddy's side. Where's Farnsworth? What he got to say about this? What's he got to say about this? I really honestly want to know. Listen, Jaguar Wright, too, she's been speaking out also. I'll give it up to Jaguar Wright. I watched a few videos. This was like, I'll be honest with you. Y'all know me. I don't really watch a whole of anything, but I saw some of her videos, right? And I saw some of her videos. And I honestly, when I saw him, just like when I saw Orlando Brown, you know, the guy from That's So Raven, I used to listen to this stuff and I was like, oh my God, they are literally like just ridiculous. But now when I look at everything in a whole new light, I honestly do believe a lot of what she's saying because it's been proven true. You know, everybody fluffs, everybody adds. If you weren't there yourself, you can't get 100%. But Jaguar Wright, at least considering what is in Cassie's complaint, it sounds like 86, 89% of what she said was actually fact. And that other 10 or 11%, I don't know. Maybe we'll find out that was true too. Listen, everything she's saying was true. Somebody says the female power will always be stronger than a man. They have to do these rituals to gain control over you. Listen, oh, that's another thing. Jaguar has never been sued at all, you know? Somebody said, teaser, there's so many. Farnsworth making the band people. Day 26. Dana DeCane, they're suing Mace, the game. Ellis, I was with you till the game. The game is waiting for its own. Wasn't he dating in India Westbrook when she was like 14 or 15? Come on now. Come on. Wasn't he dating her and putting his hands on her when she was 14 or 15? But I feel you, LS. I get your point, right? Somebody says, do you guys remember? Loone. He was on the song I Need a Girl. He became very religious after leaving Bad Boy. He's seen some things too. Now, this lawyer, let me get back to this lawyer that actually had some really good things to say. Really quick. Sorry, guys. I didn't mean to take you guys off brand. Where are we at? They said, one second. I know I should have this queued up, but you know me. Queued up. I need love. Okay, hold on. Oh, here we go. This was actually on the Uncut. Follow them on Instagram if you don't. They actually have pretty good stuff. So C.W. Lawrence Esquire made a few good points. He said, I've never seen a settlement that fast in all my years of practicing law. The thing that people may or may not realize is that lawsuits or allegations, assertions that state you plan to prove at trial, that state things you plan to prove at trial. You're saying, I will present evidence to make my argument. Evidence can be physical, videos, photos, eyewitness testimonies, circumstantial. This lawsuit hasn't even gotten to the evidence portion of the lawsuit. The allegations were enough that the defense decided to settle before the case ever moved to the evidentiary piece, which would have included discovery through interrogations, depositions, and sworn testimony. If you guys don't know, what happens is you file a lawsuit, right? The other people have to respond. You try to meter it out. If it can't be metered out, you guys go to set, it's in a conference to set the trial schedule. If you guys don't know, whenever anything comes out, there's a trial schedule. So you're like, we can't settle, we're going to court. When you go to the trial schedule, that's when the judge is like, yo, can you guys just work this out? Because the court's busy. People are like, no, we hate each other. We don't want to work it out. So the judge says, okay, let's set a trial schedule. The trial schedule is just simply, okay, so court date's going to be here. This is going to be when discovery starts. This is how long we're giving for discovery. This is how long you have to give your witness list. This is how long you have to submit things into evidence. And then when that's all done, trial will start on this day. Trial just doesn't happen. It's literally on a calendar because it has to be. Everybody has a different thing. And you do things according to the calendar. Once you agree to go to trial, it opens discovery. Discovery is, like he said, you have access to everything. To your point, Kia, and I don't mean to keep saying your name like I'm trying to rub it in, but you're the person to ask. So let me just say this. Most people, if they do not settle before they go to the conference for the judge to set the trial schedule, both people go. If they do not settle before documents are done, they will settle as soon as discovery is over. Because when you go to discovery, that's when you actually see, because everybody can make claims. Cassie could have written all that stuff. But when you go to discovery, that's when you find out, oh, you was BSing. You don't got proof. You don't got videos. What is this? That's when you find out how strong the evidence is against you. That's how you, because here's the thing, that whole thing of like To Kill a Mockingbird, when people bust in the court and they're like, I have something to say. That's not real. You realize that, right? Every witness needs to be accounted for. You need permission to bring them into court, or else the jury can't take that into consideration. So I could say, oh my God, you guys did this, you guys did that, you gave me super chat out. And then when we get to court, you find out that I can't prove it. My evidence doesn't line up. And your lawyer can judge for yourself whether the other side's evidence, whether they think it's good and whether they can take the thing. Basically, discovery. And also you find out all the evidence they have, who they've been talking to, what the statements are, what the witnesses are expected to say, who's going up against you. Basically, everything that's been presented in court, the other side knows about it in discovery before it even gets into trial, because there can't be any surprises. Why? Because you have to give me a fair time to either defend myself or to respond. So let's just say you bust somebody into court and you're like, there she is. And they're like, Tisa stole my lunch money. And I'm like, what? Right? You need to give my lawyer time to investigate who is this person, to do research, to do this. So by the time you sit on the stand and say, Tisa took my lunch money, my lawyer can be like, let's talk about Tisa's lunch. Wait, how do lawyers talk in the South? Let's talk about Tisa's lunch money. You say this lunch money, how much was it? I don't know. It's a lot. I reckon Tisa's a healthy girl. I reckon her lunches would at least run, what is it? How much does Sally Mae's pies and chicken thighs cost? About how much? Yes, about $8.99 a plate. Oh, I'm sorry, $18.99. I reckon her lunch money, because she likes Mrs. Mae's pies and thighs, is about $20. When you say that, right? That's how you get that drama, because your lawyer already knows what they're about to say. They're just trying to trip them up. Again, trial is nothing but theater, okay? So the fact that he settled before he even saw if Cassie had any proof to back up what she's saying, yo, it lets you know a lot. But let's keep going. CJ Lawrence Esquire continued. Submission of exhibits, subpoenas, and things like phone records, the searching of computers, and any other form of information gathering that can fall under the court's jurisdiction. This is all in evidence. He said the purpose of a lawsuit is to get compensation for damages, and that's what Cassie was able to do. The defense and the defendant, Diddy, likely decided after much consideration that it was better to settle the suit swiftly, sign an NDA, and not get into evidence. Again, the candles, the rituals, the Suge Knight stuff. I'm going to make an in-depth video about that, so let me make a thing. Battle, they didn't want the battle. They did not want to take it to trial where, one, allegations would then be argued and evidence presented on the record. So that means when somebody enters something on the record, that means that the court has verified it and been like, okay, so 9 times out of 10, this is right. They said, as a plaintiff, Cassie's the plaintiff, your goal is to have a resolution, receive compensation with which you are satisfied with, and move forward. I think Cassie and her team did an amazing job of being able to move forward where there was no reason to prolong it because the resolution that was reached was one that resolved the matter from each side's perspective. Y'all, listen, seriously. Did Puffy go to TMZ? I think so. I think so. Puffy right now would not want his image like out there if he didn't. Also, Ali said, watch Get Him to the Greek. I think Diddy wasn't acting. He was playing himself. Oh my God, you might be right. He played an absolute egomaniac sociopath in Get Him to the Greek. Hold on. Somebody just gave a super chat. I need to grab it. Hold on. Hey. Oh, thank you. Ross7 Galley. Welcome back. Thank you for the super sticker. And thank you for blessing me last chat too. I'm missing somebody. Oh, here we go. Eric Iverson. White Iverson. Who's that? Post Malone. Say I was balling. Post Malone did White Iverson, right? Okay. Congratulations. Okay. Word is Misa, aka Puff's first baby mama and Justin's mom, will expose him next. But I personally believe Kimora Lee will finish Kim Porter's book, but I'm not sure if this info. This info is from Gene Dill. Okay. Here's the funny thing. Kimora got her own things to fry. You know, Kimora, her husband, the Jewish guy, her husband is right now turned federal witness in the Southern District of New York for basically helping rob over $76 billion from the Malaysia Sovereign Investment Fund, which was supposed to be for the real estate fund in Malaysia. Here, Goldman Sachs, with him at the helm, literally are accused of robbing like that whole nation blind. That's how one of the reasons Kimora, it's been said, has such a lavish lifestyle. But here's the real tea, right? And baby, you can Google this. This is federal news. Kimora sure can pick them. You went with Russell Simmons, who preyed on her. She was a little kid. And, you know, he's living in Bali right now because if he steps foot in America, he's going to have to, I think, be arrested or go on trial for SA. And, okay. But also her husband, I think his name is Les. Here's the tea. Do you know that's not really her husband? Do you know that Kimora don't got a real marriage? Do you know why she doesn't have a real marriage? Because this man has 3 other wives. He was marrying women to get political favor so he could run con and steal from that country. He was married to 2 other women at the time he got married to Kimora. So much so, Kimora was like, wait, I thought you were married. And he was like, no, baby, what you talking about? Well, I don't know. So he set up a fake Instagram account. Email account. And for months was impersonating one of his wives. I think it was his first wife I don't know, his first or second wife. Well, not even first or second, wife 1 or 2, because he's still married. He was impersonating one of them and reached out to Kimora and had been communicating for months, almost to a year, pretending to be that wife, telling Kimora, there's nothing between us. No, I think he's a great person. Just, he loves you so much. Give him a try. He literally impersonated one of the 2 women he was to tell Kimora that there was nothing going on between him and his wives so he could marry Kimora. You know what it is in the US though, right? Your first wife is your wife. Everybody else is just somebody that you conned. She because polygamy is illegal. Kimora Lee is legally not married. On top of that energy drink, I don't know if it's Foozy or Bang or whatever, there's an energy drink that Kimora Lee actually invested in early on when she had like her husband's money. If you know anything about federal stuff, when you take any money that was gained illegally, anything you use to buy it will be repossessed, such as your house, stocks, bonds, or whatever. Kimora Lee is now arguing that the stock that's worth, I think it's like north of 100 million, or it might even be worth more than that, because the energy drink, whichever one it was like really, really successful. She's arguing because the federal government was like, that's our stock. We own that because you bought it with stolen money. Kimora Lee was like, what are you talking about? I bought this with my modeling and baby fat money. And everyone was like, you mean from 20 years ago, Kimora? Okay. So Kimora Lee is right now fighting the federal government, saying that she owns that stock and it shouldn't have to be not repossessed, but it shouldn't have to be confiscated by the federal government because her husband's money, which is the sovereign state of Malaysia's money, those $1 billion that he helped, whatever, it didn't buy anything in the energy drink. So she should be the owner of all that stock. That's also while Russell Simmons was suing her, saying that he gave her stock to whatever stock he had. He gave her like stocks and all this other stuff, and she was supposed to hold it, but she ended up selling the stock to pay for her husband's legal fees. Now, the thing is, what Russell was trying to do is, remember when I told you guys in the last live that when you have fruits of you have to come to the court with clean hands. You can't sue someone when you were trying to do something illegal. Kimora, I think, got away with that because Russell was trying to be slick. Russell trusted Kimora. He saw all these lawsuits coming down the road for sexual assault, for rape, for all this stuff, right? Underage. The Me Too movement was about to fall down on Russell Simmons' head, right? Isn't it funny? Russell, Puff, all those guys all hung around and they're all into the same BS. Different flavors, but all BS, right? So back to that, right? Get into this. Russell thought he was slick. See, he trusted Kimora. So he said, you know what? I might, all this stocks, bonds, all this other stuff, it all might go away because even if I leave the country and Bali doesn't export me back to the U.S., they'll still have access to my assets, and the courts could attach a lien into my assets and drain my account, and those women will be paid, right? Okay. So what did he do? He said, you know what I'll do? This is what people say he did, all right? We don't know what's in his heart or mind. This is my speculation. This is all my opinion, you guys. It's not CNN. I'm giving my opinion. But Google what happened. The events are pretty close to it, right? So Russell, what I think he did was like, yo, I'm going to transfer this stock to Kimora for a very small price. And then if people try to come after me for assets, I don't have any. I sold them to my wife. And Kimora can be like, I ain't giving you nothing. See, the problem was he didn't think that Kimora was going to be so cold-blooded. And he didn't think that Kimora would ever have a reason to do anything with the stock. Because at the end of the day, at one point, she was a billionaire's wife. At one point, she was a billionaire's wife. Okay. So Russell was like, this is just pennies to her. But see, when her husband, whatever his name is, Lee, Les, whatever, got arrested by the feds, right? Because this was an international crime of stealing from Malaysia. Billions of dollars. Billions, right? I cannot stress that enough. Billions of dollars. Funding their lifestyle, doing this, doing that. Goldman Sachs was in on it too, right? He didn't do it on his own. But I got itch in my eye. Oof. Anyway, when that happened, all their assets were frozen. All of it. So they didn't have money to pay a lawyer, but he needed a lawyer. This is before he turned Fed witness. He needed a lawyer. Okay. So then what happened? Kimora sold that stock. Russell tried to sue her and be like, she stole my stock. She was supposed to hold it. And that's when the court said, no, you sold it to her fair and square. And Kimora got away with that. Kimora got away with that. So Kimora got her own problems. Interesting enough, Russell Simmons, right? That guy, her husband, the Jewish one, he's like, whatever. And that's not even his real husband. But you know what I also think was it? Like, don't tell me Kimora got her. Or maybe she just sure can pick him, because you know who else she's been spending time with? Eric Adams, right? She's been spending time with Mayor Eric Adams from New York. Now, we don't know if they're dating, but they've been caught eating out late with her and just the kids. He came to her daughter's birthday party. Again, we don't know. Maybe they're just good friends, but Eric Adams is about to be indicted and kicked out the mayor because apparently he was doing some type of weird play for play. Now, here's the real gag. And then I'll get back to Puffy. I just want to tell you a little bit more about Kimora's tea, if anybody cares, right? Let me know if you want to change the subject, right? So here's the real part. You wonder, how much of this is Kimora? No, blah, 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 blah. I don't know. Maybe she's just a victim. That's what I was thinking. And maybe she is. Maybe she is. Maybe every guy she picks is just scamming on a high level, right? She dated dope boys, but instead of slinging dope, they sling them politics, laws, and like hedge funds and private equity. But here's the thing, right? In the legal filings, Kimora literally, so they have Swiss bank accounts, right? And Kimora and her husband, because he ain't her husband, he's just some guy that married her, right? Not legally, flew over to Switzerland to get access to Swiss bank accounts. If you guys know anything about Swiss bank accounts, yes, what you hear in the movies are true, this, that, and the third. The only thing is, I do believe, I want to actually get the legal documents again. So forgive me if I'm not telling the story right, but I think I have the general outfit. She literally went, it's been alleged that they both flew over to Switzerland with passports. But one of the passports didn't have Kimora's name. One of the passports had his ex-wife's name on it. Don't ask me how they got those passports. He had a real passport. Kimora flew over there with them. They went to the Swiss bank account to free up assets, or I'm sorry, to transfer assets, right? And Kimora was imitating his wife, his real wife. Now, these are allegations. They have not been proven in law. If you get the legal documents, so after this case hit the, I think the LA Times and the New York Times has a thing. Here's the thing why you haven't heard about this. Because after this hit the blogs, I think I did a video about it. Just do search Kimora Lee on my channel. I actually did a legal breakdown where I read the docs. After this hit the things and all this other stuff, and her husband turned state witness, the case was sealed. So I don't know if it's been resolved. It's probably still ongoing because his business partner, Jolo, right, this Asian guy, was countersuing Kimora's husband, being like, he was the mastermind. Why am I the one in trouble? Yeah. So when you said Kimora Lee might finish writing Kim Porter's book, she might, but I think she has her own hands. I think her hands are full. I think her hands are full. Will her husband end up going to jail? Or are we talking about Diddy? Kimora's husband, I don't know. He is cooperating with the feds. They gave him a plea deal, but I don't know if that plea deal involves jail time. And anyway, because you don't find out about the plea deal until the case is over and the judge and jury give their verdict. So we don't even know, right? Yeah, I'm just saying. Listen, somebody said, who said Kimora ain't trying to be poor? You hear me? Again, she ain't trying to be poor, but I'm just saying. Okay, so somebody said Justin slept with Diddy and Usher, and there's even a video on YouTube where it looks like he's going down. So you know what? I saw that video on YouTube, and I gotta say, you might be right. Again, we don't know what happened, and I don't even want to start that, but Trey Songz is there. Puffy's filming it. Trey Songz is there going, you see that? And it's Odell Beckham Jr. And there's somebody in a gray hoodie. And you think it's a bunch of dirtball guys just watching a girl like down on their knees, but you don't see what's going on. But the surprise is up pops Justin Bieber. And then he goes into the camera and he looks like he is on something. Again, Justin literally, it's sad. It's sad. He was underage, you know. Somebody said it's alleged that Usher abused. I don't know anything about that. If it is, somebody said, girl, I saw it. Exactly. So in any case, right, they're saying that Puffy's new thing now over the next week, we are going to start seeing a lot of information about Cassie come out. A lot. And by information, people weighing in, saying their feelings, saying on whether she thinks this or whether she thinks that. Again, not necessarily, and this is an important thing to note, not necessarily to harass or hurt Cassie, because, you know, he ain't trying to make her the pull. She already said, I got my shooters on deck. It's because even though Puffy is very, very worried about something legal happening, concerning Cassie and what she knows and what she can share. Puffy also doesn't want to go broke. Again, the blood is in the water. People are gearing up to sue him. And again, people are not worried about 100 million, 30 million, 20 million. People will be happy with 100,000, 200,000, 300. But Puffy has done so much. I know Gina's mad. I actually talked to a few people about that Gina situation. And again, nothing's confirmed. This is all speculation. But what they can gather is once Gina did that interview with Tasha K, where she spilled all this tea, and then later on, she went and apologized and took it all back and said, "Oh, I'm sorry. I'm lying. That never happened." People said that happened because Puffy offered Gina a settlement. Gina got paid for the settlement. And when she got paid for the settlement, it released them. You know how it is. You release somebody from any future legal obligation concerning the nature of that settlement, which was, I think, the mistreatment, the abuse, and whatever. I know Gina's mad probably because she settled way too low. But at the end of the day, Gina's a beautiful girl, but I had issues with her mental with the rug. You know, it wasn't even like the good new rug. It was like rugs from the apartment building hasn't been rehab since like 1994. Like that type of rug. You know, it looks like cream/top tie-dye, but then you find out the original color was off-white. Do you know what I'm saying? So it's just like whatever. But Gina actually already settled with Diddy and offered an NDA. And that's why she apologized and said, like, whatever. But again, I will say one thing, and I think this surprised Diddy the most out of Cassie. You know, when they were with them, I think Diddy felt like, well, how smart could you be if you let me do all the stuff to you? But Cassie, she had time to heal. She had time with her husband. She had time with her son. You know what I'm saying? Somebody said some rapper claims that Cassie should have spoken about the allegations when they happened. How do I feel about that? I honestly think, Brittany, that's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Oh, what rug? Gina has rugs in her house. She was messing with a billionaire. She was living in an old fixer-up apartment with rugs in her house. It's just like a running joke. Because if I would assume that if you are messing with a billionaire, having him doing the H-Town stomp on your face and doing all the stuff that you would be flying private and dipped out. Like, what part of the game is this? This is when Young Miami was like, you a munch. He only, like, you're the cleanup woman. He only calls you to be a toy whenever he wants other guys or girls around. And I'm like, how is he using you like a plaything and he's not even compensating you? Again, I'm not saying the compensation makes it better, but I am saying it's now I'm really confused. He's treating you like he works at McDonald's and you're doing this for free. He doesn't take you out. Like, what is going on, right? So anyway, let's talk about that. I think that when somebody is victimized, especially when it comes to stuff like that, it's so here's my thing. I think that the person that suffered the abuse, they can speak about it whenever you want. Cassie, let's also not forget that another thing people forget in that document, Cassie low-key told us that she was in rehab. Y'all talking about why didn't she say something? Cassie told us in that document that she was addicted to everything and literally worked hard to exorcise her demons before her children were born. And she credits her children with her not going back to that mess. So when you're saying, why didn't Cassie say anything? Cassie, at least if I read that complaint right, basically left Diddy a drug addict, a broken drug addict that was filled with crazy feelings of shame and regret. I don't understand how people are like, it's like, I don't know. Do people not have any pride? And I'm not saying anybody should be ashamed, but you literally got H-Town stomped. You were passed around. You were doing this. It was all this weird stuff going on, right? So I'm like, if all that weird stuff's going on, like, does she get time to like make peace with herself? Now I got to march out on stage and be like, Puff Daddy, one of the most successful, popular people in the world, use me as a concubine and a pass around. Why would Cassie run out and say that after breaking up? And she's on drugs. And she deals with the shame, guilt, and humiliation she feels. And no matter what y'all say, Cassie's a gorgeous girl. But when she left, Puffy, your self-esteem has to be low for you to even trade yourself and do all that stuff. Trade yourself and do all that stuff for money. I'm not judging anybody. Do what you want. But, and again, I don't know what people are into. Listen, I'm not judging anybody's things they do at night. As long as there ain't no kids, chickens, or goats there, we cool. We cool. As long as everybody is up, we cool. Do what you want. Everybody's on board. But I will say that abuse, there is no way that you can say that her self-esteem wasn't in the gutter and she was dealing with some serious issues, which probably stem from things she saw in her house, low key. Low key, she probably grew up seeing her mama abused. So you come from an abusive household, your mind is messed up, and there's no need to be ashamed of it. But the fact that people act like this, you act like you see your version of Cassie, not you, Brittany, but people see their version of Cassie. She's beautiful. She has it all. She has this and that. And they're like, oh, how can that person do this? No, because Puffy showed you who she really was inside. Someone that had so little love for herself that she let her face get A-Town stomped just so she could put on some Gucci and some Fendi. And she had a dream of her career. But again, I don't judge her, because anybody that's ever had a hustle or a dream, listen, we all have our limits. And Cassie may have witnessed things in her childhood that made somebody putting their hands on you and beating you to an inch of life. Hey, that's just a part of it. Do you see what I'm saying? But it doesn't make my limits better than hers, right? But I will say that I will say that Cassie was a very, very broken person when she met Diddy. A very, very broken person. So you're saying a person that's already broken, already got mental issues. Do I know her personally? No, but I can see the signs, right? She has this dream of being famous because everybody's just like, oh, she was chasing fame. But to me, because Cassie's always a hustler, it sounded like she was chasing true financial freedom. Because even when Puffy was beating her butt, H-Town stomping her, she was still in the studio. She was still trying to get her own career so she could get away from her. Again, I'm not going to judge her actions. Nobody wants to be fed, and he needs to deserve, because at the end of the day, I don't care what Cassie signed up for. You don't have to, in my world, you don't have the right to treat people like crap just because you can. That's like me seeing somebody smack somebody in their face. Oh, they like it when I smack on the face and spit on them and beat them down. I don't care. In the world I live in, you are going to jail. You don't have the right to treat other humans like that. We live in a world of rules and laws and systems. And if someone doesn't respect their autonomy, okay, let's say we can get them into counseling, but you are not allowed to do that. This world will not, the world I live in will not exist where people are allowed to mistreat other people, physically mistreat them. You know what I'm saying? It's just like me seeing somebody that like boyfriend cheats on them all the time and they're crying and be like, oh, well, she must like it. Maybe, but sir, you don't have the right to lie and cheat. Like, no, no, you don't have the right to do that. So Cassie was already broken. Cassie was already this. Cassie was already that, right? Puffy took advantage of it. Do I think that it's even realistic to expect that Cassie should have spoken up sooner? No. Do I think that it's absolutely an excuse of an abuser? You should have said something sooner. If she had said something sooner, has anybody said Puffy should have apologized sooner? Puffy should have paid for Cassie's therapy sooner? Puffy should have stopped antagonizing that woman sooner? We're talking about what Cassie should have did. Could Puffy have done anything sooner? Could Puffy have stopped any behavior? Could Puffy have stopped antagonizing her? Could Puffy have stopped doing his white fingernail? Could he? He could have, but he didn't. So why are we looking at the person that was victimized and been like, oh, do you think she could have said something sooner? She could have, but Puffy could have stopped sooner. Puffy could have apologized sooner. You know? Puffy could have did everything sooner. She could have. She could have. You know? Puffy also, I do believe, I agree with you. I believe he groomed Cassie. I do not believe at 19, whether you're a man or a woman, they say you're a man or a woman now because you turn 18. I don't think 19-year-olds got the sense. I don't think they have sense. I think that they are capable. But I think when I was 19, I thought I knew everything. And now I look back when I was 19 and been like, oh my God, like how did I make it home every night? Yo. I was wilding out. How did I make it home every night? Honestly. And living on my own, the cycles I ran into, the stalkers I had. How? How? But I did. I don't think 19s. I think that somebody, when they turn 26, is just beginning to truly understand what life is and truly understand, just beginning to truly understand yourself. I don't think we should say like I would never expect a 19-year-old to have the same sense as a 50-year-old. I wouldn't expect a 19-year-old to have the same sense as a 35-year-old. So why legally do we look at, oh, you're 18. Now you got to have the same sense as somebody 70. And if you don't, that's your fault. I don't believe in that. I really don't. Listen, somebody said these behaviors are implicitly accepted within an industry that to some extent thrives on exploitation. For better or worse, eyes wide shut, how insidious this clandestine elite society can be. You know what the funny thing is? I swear, I used to think this was all Illuminati, but the more this Puffy stuff is some of the darkest, craziest stuff. And you know what I find so interesting? And I'll say this so many times, the way everybody in the industry, everybody is sitting on mute. Everybody. Who said something about it? Even the people that were victims of themselves, everybody's quiet. The only people that have come out and taken our side are, of course, regular people. Okay. And Dana Kane, people that already are on Puffy's bad side. Think about it. Think about your fave. Pull up anybody's name. Who's spoken about it? Who said, I believe you and stand with Cassidy? Everybody's just like, oh, not my business. Again, actors, Hollywood. Okay, fine. You don't know her. You're like, I don't care. Right. But in the music industry, the people that knew Puffy, the only people I've seen really take a stand, Naomi Campbell and Janet Jackson. Outside of that, who does that? Who does it? Listen, somebody says, somebody said, it's accepted in our own community. Black people, black men who told on themselves, Bill Cosby, R. Kelly. So, you know what? It's true, but I will say that I think it's just power. Because at the end of the day, there are more white people because there's a bigger proportion. But I agree with you that I think people accept community. And I really honestly think when people have a lot of money, status, power, popularity, people want a picture of that. They want some of that. They want some of it, So here's the thing. Is it true? Final Law said, where you at? You said, is it true he paid her 100 million exact, or is that an unconfirmed rumor? Oh, so here's all I know about that 100 million. It's not exact. Legal experts that were looking at the case and analyzing and looking at Sony pictures, the nature of it and blah, 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 they can kind of estimate, given case law and precedents, how everything does. And they actually said that this lawsuit is worth more than north of 100 million if she is successful. The way he settled so quick, everybody, including myself, assumed that he settled for somewhere around 100 million. However, the exact amount of the settlement is secret. I will say this. I do not believe for a second that he walked away paying 30 million. I don't believe for a second. They had him on the ropes. And the fact that he settled within 24 hours after all the allegations came out, but before he had a chance to defend himself, before he had a sound back. And get this, right? I don't think Puffy ever said afterwards that he unequivocally didn't do that. I think his lawyer just said, just because he settled doesn't mean he's guilty. That's not the same as saying this is all lies. How dare you? And like that one person said, why didn't you countersue Cassie for defamation? You could have buried her if there were any lies. Instead, you settle. So yeah, I do think he liquidated a lot. I think there's more coming down the end. And I think right now, a lot of lawyers have privately approached Puffy with their client stuff. And I 100% do believe that at the end of the day, he is going to weigh like Biggie. He is going to pay like Biggie weighs. Like I do honestly believe that right now he is being inundated about mess. I 100% believe that. Yeah, And listen, don't be scared. Listen, and I'll leave you guys with this. Somebody says, I hope they're protecting Cassie. I'm scared that man is crazy. He is crazy, but I will actually say, I think that her going public was the smartest thing she could do. People don't forget, and this is what the legal analysis and people that work in law enforcement are saying. Cassie going public with this put a cloak of protection on her. If anything happens to her now, a year from now, 10 years from now, people are going to be looking right at Diddy. Diddy better pray that Cassie is so safe. Diddy better pray that Cassie don't even trip over a crack in the sidewalk, because everybody is going to be at his door, including law enforcement. His lawyer, her lawyer, the world knows, and her lawyer knows even more because they got that settlement stuff. This is the number one thing she could have did to protect her family. I truly believe now that it's out there, Puffy isn't so stupid as to hurt Cassie. I really just don't. Exactly. Puffy better pray she doesn't sneeze, because everybody's going to be like, you did it. Literally, you did it. Anthony Buchanan said, do you think radio stations will stop playing Diddy's music in the near future? I'm so curious. I am interested to see how he works this way out with the PR, because Diddy wants power and fame. He's not going to go away. So I'm interested to see, right? Somebody said, nothing will happen. Nothing will happen to Diddy. Nothing happened after Biggie's death. That's true. But did anybody think that Diddy was actually involved back then? Did anybody seriously think that Diddy was involved in the whole situation? You know what I'm saying? I don't think they did. I don't think they did. I don't want to be, but okay. So you know what? I don't like to talk about kids, but somebody said I would not like to be Diddy's kids right now. Let me judge my words quickly, carefully. I find it hard to believe that a person that would do this to someone they're obsessed with, because at the end of the day, I don't call what Diddy had for Cassie love, but I do believe he was obsessed with her. I find it hard to believe that he's a loving, caring, patient, kind. Hey, what's up, Sarah? Hi. Oh, thank you, Mama. What's up, Sarah? I find it hard to believe that Puffy is a loving, patient, caring, kind, warm-hearted father. I find it hard to believe. Someone that has that level of rage, that level of weirdness, I don't see how it won't flow out into the lives of the people around him. That's all I'm going to say about that. Again, I don't want to start any rumors. I don't want to do, but just from a safety point of view, I find it hard. I don't think that Hannibal Lecter can be a great father and loving husband after you've just spent all day like putting malls in Clarice's mouth. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And when you think about it, right? Once Kim died, Puffy was like, oh my God, I'm the best dad in the world. I'm doing this. And remember, he would be live streaming, taking the girls to school and all this stuff. And I believed it. I was like, oh my God, single dad, he's so sad, blah, 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 blah. But once he got done using that for promo, when's the last time he's been around to take the kids to school? When's the last time he's been around the kids? I'm being serious. I know they fly out to him and they meet him on his yacht, but when's the last time? I've seen him more with Young Miami and the girl that got the baby than his own kids. So you see what I'm saying? His two daughters are in school, so they can't be jet setting you. And I think they go to school where do they go to school? Atlanta, maybe? I don't know. But my whole point of the matter is, after he got done using Kim, where was he? So you see what I'm saying? I don't know. Zambiko says, keep a critical eye to our world, Tisa. I appreciate you. Oh, thank you, Zambiko. I appreciate that too. Listen, somebody said Carisha about to be out of here. Puffy gonna be with the oldest girl he find. Oh, Sonia said, thank you so much for the super chat. Sonia said, what's going on? Is this locked up? I'm about to end this live stream. It's cutting up. It's acting bad. Shout out to Puffy. Where's it at? Where is this live stream? Okay. Sonia from the 8 said, hey, Tisa, now we all know why he dressed up as the Dark Knight for Halloween. Pac messed around with Puff's first baby's mom. I don't know. Listen, at this point, I wouldn't put it past them. I think this goes past narcissism. I think this goes straight up into like you're a sociopath. I think it's past narcissism. There's something going on. Yes. So Diddy's twins and their sister, I think they live in Atlanta. The point of the matter is, when's the last time you've seen him taking them to school, spending time with them, doing any, you see what I'm saying? Where when after Kim died, he was like live streaming in the car and the kids were just looking at him like, baby, we haven't seen you since last Christmas, you know? Anyway, y'all listen, my internet is cutting up. I gotta go. Make sure I didn't miss it. I will see you guys all tomorrow. Thank you all so much for the super chat. I'll talk to y'all later. Bye.